is Emily Koo. I come from a big, loving family that has culture and tradition running deep in our veins. My people are the people of the mountains of Laos, Thailand, and China, and are known as the Hmong people. My parents were brought here by my immigrant grandparents, making me the first generation born here to attend college. I was born in a small town called Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, where my neighbors were predominantly white. As a kid, I moved to different states and cities, giving me the opportunity to experience the different social and racial diversity. Although I was exposed to diversity at a young age, I did not fully understand what it represented. To become culturally self-aware, I would establish my cultural biography as seen through positionality and multiple identities, dilemmas of Americanization, family culture, cultural awareness of other inventory, and intersectionality. As a reflection of myself, I believe that I have experienced multiple identities and positionalities as of my current state. Although I was to never question my teachings, it did not stop me from seeking my own answers and awareness. The interactions of high school onto college years have made me more culturally aware and self-aware of who I am and where I stand as an individual. Now I focus on my past experience and contrast with my current lifestyle and try to understand the different identities I have played and many more I will continue to play in. I am a first-generation Hmong American whose family is still intact with their origins and ethnic culture. Being Americanization has made it a dilemma because I sometimes forget where I come from and who I am as a person. Occasionally it is hard to realize the differences in culture when I have excluded myself to just being Americanized. When I reflect on my ignorance, I realize that I am no different from others because I am my own culture, and that being different should not be an issue but a freedom. We learn through our family traditions and experiences, and as we are given that information, it is assimilated into our own views. Family is where we gain our strength and knowledge of how to interpret the world. Within my family, my grandparents were the keeper of our culture, upholding our traditions and teaching us of our ethnic background. Family has always been a big part of my life. I believe they are not just the keeper of my culture, but also the keeper of my soul identity. They have shaped my views and has kept me true to myself at times that I have lost track of who I was. Being able to be culturally aware of other inventory has been a continued journey for me, because in different situations I am still unconsciously judgmental of other individuals. I've become more aware of no shared similarities, but shared differences, making it better to connect with people. My intersectional views are made up of multiple factors that make me who I am today. I was born into a Hmong family as a female. My family and I practice the faith of shamanism, which honors the spirit world. I am 24 years old and married to a Hmong male, and we have a 5-month-old baby. I am American-born and consider myself as a Hmong American individual. My intersectionality is not diverse from only the Hmong traditions, but also from my American-born traditions. Assessing cultural awareness with 5 different aspects has helped define my cultural biography. Even though my background of cultural awareness may not be as profound as others, I believe that I have made progress into becoming more culturally aware. Within our society, we hold these values of being a dominant or subordinate group. How we divide these groups is through society's generalization of what factors of an individual fits in either the privileged or the oppressed, and these social identities hold a strong place in how we identify ourselves. Although my association is of Asian descent, I am heterosexual, able-bodied, and cisgender female. Due to these social identities that I am addressed as, I am dominant of other individuals whom do not associate in the same way. As a heterosexual individual, I am never questioned for where my affection lies. We are shaped by what society says we are, and I was born, quote-unquote, normal, while a drag queen is classified as a queer because he was freely expressing how he felt. As an able-bodied person, I hold the power to being able to perform daily tasks without anyone questioning my ability to do it. Being able-bodied, heterosexual, and cisgender female, I am the dominant of society because I hold the power to conform what is the norm and what differs from it. To become a subordinate individual, it only takes simple characteristics of oneself. The way we dress, do our hair, our skin color, the class we belong in, and any minor factors that it seems irrelevant. Through my ethnicity, sex, and class that I associate with, it has given me a disadvantage. Being an Asian person in a society that has white supremacy and the hegemonic system makes life harder to attain certain goals. As a woman, we are seen as weak, frail, homebodies, and too sensitive to become any standard that men hold. The divide between classes is the biggest social issue next to racism, because we live the daily life of a division between each person. Living in a society that gives us our identity is confusing and frustrating. To some we are normal, but to others we are different and not the traditional American image. Cultural immersions gave me the opportunity to learn and educate myself of others that we are very different but very much the same. Before this course, I have never met or known of this great individual that now I would call a friend. Maya is an African American young woman, and although I've had multiple friends being African American, I never really took the time to understand their views and opinions of what they represented. Growing up, I was always told that black people were rude, disgusting, thieves, and had no class, but I never for a second allowed myself to label anyone a title they did not deserve. And that is why I am thankful to have had the opportunity to have Maya as my friend give me her insight of the oppression society has laid upon African American individuals. From this cultural immersion, I was able to see her pain and how unfair it is of anyone to label someone for simply loving who they are. Maya's African American roots are strong and she stands by them, which I respect, because in our current society, we need more people like her to stand up for what matters and what is right. Like Maya, I have never met or known of this spunky, fun individual that I also now call a friend. Gloria is a young woman who is biracial of African American and Hispanic descent, who is a bisexual cisgender female. She grew up in two different communities, making it hard to adapt to two very different environments. Listening to her talk about how it is frustrating being identified as bisexual because others claimed it was due to her confusion of finding the right man for her. And I understand what she meant because it shouldn't have to take the right man or woman to identify as gay, lesbian, bisexual, homosexual, or anything else. What should really matter is the love and support for finally understanding who they really were meant to be. Gloria gave me insightful views of who she was and what she represented. She is strong, independent, and will fight for what she believes in. She gave me the inspiration to learn about other individuals and advocate for self-love because that is what brings out the best in people. The last person that I interviewed was my long friend from high school, Rana. When I first met Rana, she was shy and an introvert. Rana is Ethiopian descent, practicing the Muslim religion. She was always afraid to express herself freely as a practicing Muslim because she did not want to be targeted as a terrorist. As a young girl, she was too ashamed to wear the hijab because she was afraid to represent the religion she loved and cherished growing up. Not only was she labeled as a terrorist because of what society defined Muslims as, she was an African American woman who was oppressed due to the color of her skin. Although it was rough for her in her teen years, she had learned to love herself and love what her religion means to her. She had become stronger and fights for what she believes in. All these immersions have taught me a valuable lesson. Having the opportunity to understand and the willingness to learn from others, it has helped me as an individual to broaden my perspectives. We all together look different, act different, have cultural differences, and have many more differences, but all these differences is what makes us all the same too. We all experience the same emotions, pain, oppression, and anger, which makes us human. Being able to acquire new skills and knowledge of cultural competency has taught me the importance of differences in each individual. Taking a cultural competency action plan using the 11 standards of the National Association of Social Workers not only makes me become a better social worker in the future, but also a better individual interacting with new people I meet every day. In order to take an effective social active plan, I would have to fully immerse myself into the diversity of the different cultures around me. Another initiative that I would take is learning and understanding the different types of oppression happening to different groups. As learned through class sessions, readings, and self-realization, I have learned that oppression is not only things that is physically showing, but things that emotionally and mentally affect an individual. From the beginning of this class, I was not sure what this course would have offered me. I assumed it would be like every other class that talked about cultural differences, but it touched on topics that went deeper in meaning. It has made me become not only culturally aware, but emotionally, physically, and mentally aware of others and myself. With this new outlook, I plan to spread this awareness not just to friends, families, and my clients, but to everyone around me. By doing this, we as social workers can work to spread social change and humbly acknowledge others of what the future can bring if we work together.